latest concert, which is 3 fantastic fiddlers. Before I start on that, I have to do Fiona has this all written out for me. God knows I wouldn't be able to do it myself. Mobile phones switched off. Fire exit is there, straight through the veils. Animals are very friendly, delighted to say hello. The coffee hut will be open at the end, and the toilets are located around, as you go past the front of the house, you see a yellow door. Avoid the geese at all costs. I went to college in Marino many years ago, and had the very good fortune to meet Maura, and we shared a room in college for 3 years. I studied.
They wouldn't let us sleep there.
Oh, we did everything else, and that's where we met. And Maura, I couldn't even begin to tell you how much fun we had when we were in college. But the music is what's important here tonight. So, Maura lives in Kinvara now. Was originally from Tralee, and when she was learning to play the fiddle, her main influence was Nicky McCall and his wife Anne, and she has been playing the fiddle ever since. She's performed and given workshops at many festivals all around the world, presented the long note on RTE, and presented traditional music programs on Clare FM. And this is where I stop, because I told Aoife and Roisin they had to introduce themselves. So that would be great. And I'm so thrilled that they're here. Absolutely thrilled. And it's going to be a fantastic night's music. Thank you so much for coming. I love the way you pump up the crowd. So we're delighted to be here as well. And this is Aoife, my youngest sister. And this is Aoife's oldest and only daughter, Roisin O'Connor. And this is actually a premiere. You're all so lucky, because we've never played on stage together, the 3 of us, before now. This is the first. So I'm just intrigued by this alpaca here. Anya, is it? I have a sister Anya as well. And sister Siobhan down there, and her name is down there as well. And it's so great to see Mary Keane and Carl and Joe and a few other special people in the audience as well. So I don't know all your names, but I might have names. Huh? So I suppose we're from Kerry, Roisin's from Dublin. But it's okay, because Dublin have no this year, it's grand. We reckon Kerry is good to be there. So I suppose our music has been very tinged by Kerry music. I would have learned from Nicky McAuliffe. I think you probably primarily learned from Anne, his wife, 2 fantastic musicians from Castle Island, just outside Castle Island in Kerry. And they've taught, I suppose, a huge population of musicians in Kerry. So we're going to start with polkas from Kerry, and these would have come from the playing of Ned and Dan Connors, 2 great characters. They weren't brothers or anything, but they were great characters on Scarta Glynn, which is kind of as you head into Slieve Lucra. So we'll try those.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone wants to dance? Loads of space.
things. And again, as I say, this is the first time that we've actually played together on stage. We did a quick rehearsal in the sitting room inside. These two get to play together all the time because they live in the same house, obviously. And the internet is great, and you can get lots of different things like that, so it's grand. So we're going to play a tune. We're going to move off to Quebec to a tune called The Waltz of the Toys, La Valse de Jouet. And it was composed by a guy called Michel Faubert, who I've never met or anything, but is that a water bottle for the lab now?
No, it's for me.
The lab.
Thank you.
My own lamb. Thank you.
There's a line for that. Her water bottles in the shape of an alpaca. Anyway, Michel Faubert, I've never met him. I've met loads of musicians who have met him, but he composed this most amazing tune. And La Valse de Jouet, which lovely tune. Will we try that?
Yes, lovely.
Sit.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The Few Bob Hornpipe. Roisin learnt it from Liam O'Connor, who we think got it from Joe Ryan,
Yeah.
playing of Joe Ryan. He wasn't far from here, was he, when he was he around Ashburn?
Joe lived.
He used to play in Ashburn. I remember coming to a session of, was that right, Mary?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right, yeah, three
Yeah.
Ashburn Street.
Yeah.
There's a pub on the side of the road, and he used to meet
Yourself and
there.
Kathleen Smith.
Yes.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Kerry's done it or something. I remember coming out to it a few times. And we'll follow it on with a reel then. If anyone has the name of the reel, that would be helpful. We don't have the name of it right now. Yeah. Okay, start the first one then. First tune, what is it? Okay, lovely. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to play two jigs. And I want to dedicate these two jigs to two very special people down there, Cass and Claire. And Cass was a huge influence when we were in college. He was a science lecturer, but it wasn't the science, it was the music. Stone mad about music, introduced us to so many different musicians. And one of the musicians that you introduced us to was John Nocton. Do you remember John Nocton? And when we first met John Nocton, he didn't have a concertina. I can't even remember how you got a concertina for him, but you did. And he got John Nocton back playing. And John had stopped playing. John was from Fecal in County Clare. And he had a great friend who played music with him, but the friend died. And John stopped, as was customary. He didn't play music for nearly a year, I think, afterwards, back in those days. So he stopped playing, and then of course he came to Dublin and he got married. And it turned out he was living a few roads away from Marino, where Sevenfield went to college, and he fell.
Yes.
And he had no concertina, but Cass used to gather all these older musicians, and it was an amazing opportunity to meet older musicians. And there was lots of them. Denny O'Brien was one, used to come and play at a session on Thursday night. And John Nocton played these two jigs the first time I ever heard of it. And myself and Mrs. Siobhan was down there, was to go and visit him and we'd record him telling stories. And one of the stories that really stuck in my head was what John used to tell about his friend and how they'd go to the house dances. And they were in great demand. If you only had 3 tunes, they were in great demand for a house dance. So they had one bike between them. Remember this? And so the friend would cycle the bike, say, down to the far field, and John would keep walking. He'd leave the bike, and the friend would start walking. John would get to the bike, he'd get on the bike, and he'd cycle past the friend and leave the bike another good bit down. And they did this, and they reckoned that they got to the house dance in half the time. So I always love that story, but it's true or not. I've never tried the maths of whether it is or not. But John used to tell that story, and that's how they used to get to the house dance on one bike. And as far as I remember, they didn't have a carrier, so they couldn't count. It was a girl's bike. So anyway, look, 2 tunes, John Nocton's jigs. Hoping to play these for years, so especially for Cass and Claire. off to the jigs. How do we do now? We're doing slides.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. I have to find it first. Okay. So we're going to play, we're back to Scarta Lynn and Ned and Dan Connors. And these tunes were recorded from them. I spent way back when, in 1995, I would have recorded these. We had a great evening's music. It was May the 18th, 1995. I remember because there was an Ireland match on. I'm sure somebody here probably tell me who the Ireland match was with. But everybody was watching the match, but we were in this room in the side of the pub, the kitchen, playing tunes with Ned and Dan Connors and a guy called Morris O'Keefe. No relation, but Dan Jeremiah O'Connor and Ned O'Connor. And it was the most amazing evening of hilarity. And at one stage, somebody's chair broke under them. I don't know, it's not that it was jumping around or anything, I think the chair might have been weak. But these are 3 slides that they played. So we'll try them, will we? And slides are danced in as part of a figure of the Sleeve Lucre set. So, Mary Keane might dance a Sleeve Lucre set. Don't even look at me now.
Clifford, and it's called The Red Haired Boy, and it's a version of Bugle Pedals.
Lovely. Wow. Might need a moment after that. Lovely.
Really nice.
It's the first time I've heard her play that. So, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Will we do the other version? Five or more? Okay. Let's do the three. Okay, so we're going to play some reels. But the first two were recorded by a great fiddle player, again from Kerry, Paddy Cronin, who's a pupil of Paul O'Keefe's, no relation. And Paddy recorded these in 1951, shortly after he'd gone to America, and he lived in Boston. So they're Pride of Rathmore and the Girls of Farn Four. And anybody who's flown to Kerry Airport, the airport is in Farn Four. Okay.
And Patty came from near Rathmore.
Near Rathmore, yeah. Okay. Sure, we're getting loads of information. You're learning lots here, Emma. And the third one is a tune called The Flowing Bowl.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. The Flowing Bowl, a friend, a fiddle player, used to call it the overflowing toilet bowl.
I always thought it was the flowing bowl.
No.
Initially, but it's bowl. Yeah.
And the last one is the Kilton Laura Kelly band played it is The Maids of Holiday.
Yeah.
What do we do now?
Next on the list.
What do we do? We actually have a list here, we're not following it. Nice. How do you make a list? What do you say? What about the resting chair?
Yeah, lovely.
So we're going to slow things down. We're going to go to Shetland. And a great man called Tom Anderson, who wrote most amazing tunes. He ran a group of yeah, I agree.
He's gone to do harmony.
Okay. There's something happening down there. He's getting very excited about it. I don't know what it is. But Tom Anderson had a group of fiddle players called the 40 Fiddlers, so there was 40 fiddles in them, and I was very lucky. I managed to get to the Shetlands in the middle of the 80s, and they were still on the go. And they used to meet in a pub called the Lounge Bar, very good labour pub, in Lerwick, which was the main harbour in the main Shetland Islands. And the 40 fiddle players would sit in this pub, sit around, and he'd conduct them and play the most beautiful Shetland music. But he composed a lot of tunes as well, and this is a tune called The Resting Chair. You recognise it, I'm sure, when you hear it. There's various stories told about the origin of it. I was walking a walk in Shetland one day, and there was a stone chair, and I was told, here's the resting chair. But I've heard other stories as well. Have we tried?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try.
Yeah, you go.
There we go. friends are good, yeah. Okay, very good. So, 2 more pipes. First one is a tune, again we're back to Julia Clifford. As you can see, we're quite influenced by, I suppose, the music from our own
Part of the country.
our own part of the country, our part of the country, but Roisin has no choice. She's a dove, but she gets to hear it all the time, and she's very good at the music from down there. So Julia Clifford was she was a pupil of Padraig O'Keefe's, sister of Dennis Murphy's, a very funny woman, and I suppose a role model for us as female musicians. She lived in London for a lot of her life, but she'd come home the odd time. If you were lucky, you'd get to meet her, and I did get to meet her a few times. She used to play a straw violin, which is where it had a big, what do you call that, a speaker, like a gramophone off the fiddle. And I remember her letting me have a go of it one time. The weight of it, I don't know how she played it.
For the dance halls.
But it was for the dance halls, yeah. So when they were playing for the dances, it just made them louder. So she used to call her son Billy Clifford, used to talk about how she named tunes, and it was usually, sometimes she'd just look at when he was a child, she'd look at the books down on the floor that he might be reading, and she might pick a name out of them. But anyway, this first tune she called Freddie Kimmel's.
Apparently there's no such person.
Well, there's a guy called John Kimmel, and there was a guy who was one of the first musicians. He was from Holland, believe it or not, but he played Irish music on the melodeon in New York. I don't know if information is bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
An amazing melodeon player, one of the first to record Irish music back in 1903, I think, 1904. But Julia called it Freddie Kimmel, so maybe she got mixed up. And the second tune is really interesting. It came from Padraig O'Keefe. He recorded it in 1949 for Seamus Ellis, great collector who lived out in Entity's days out here near the Knoll. And the first 2 parts are a tune called The Smoky Chimney. But then the last 2 parts they come from a tune called Kitty O'Shea's Champion Jig, which again was included in a collection called Ryan's Mammoth Collection. I don't know if I remembered all this, but Ryan's Mammoth Collection was published in Boston, and it was a mixture of Irish tunes, Scottish tunes. At the time, so many people in Boston. And O'Neill, Captain Francis O'Neill was in Chicago, and he published O'Neill's music, and they say a lot of the tunes were passed over. But the interesting thing is there's 2 parts of this. It was a 7-part tune that, for some reason, Padraig O'Keefe tagged them on to this tune. You hear them, they're very different.
They're very pretty, yeah.
They're pretty, yeah. So we'll try that.
3?
No, we won't do that.
2.
get 3 jigs?
Kurt, Jan, Hyon, is the first one. Was that Joe Ryan one as well?
Don't know, maybe.
Might be. And followed by Jerry Beaver's hat, or
Jerry's
Jerry's
Beaver
Beaver
hat.
hat.
Jerry's beaver hat. isn't it? And you call it as a
And the
beaver.
last one, the Leitrim jig. Yeah, that's 3 all. There.
guess was really more, but it was really more. But this second last one is a gorgeous tune from Sweden. So in Sweden they have a big fiddle tradition, and Norway and all those Nordic countries. So this is a tune just called Ora Valsen. And I learned it from a girl called Gay Stewart many years ago. Remember that?
Yep.
Oh, don't do it. I'll go from my country. Okay. So we're going to finish up with a set of reels because I've been thinking about this hot chocolate. I think it was Oisin who mentioned they have hot chocolate. I don't like to drink coffee after 4 o'clock, but I can do hot chocolate. And the alpaca looked like it wants to do hot chocolate as well. So we're going to finish up with 2 reels, and just to thank everybody for coming. It's lovely to see all the faces, and thank Fanula and Dominic and all the... We're missing
the alpacas. Can we remember we have Anya and Liz, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we have a Cormac over here, and we have
Brendan.
Brendan,
Dermot.
Aidan.
Aidan.
We get them all?
You did.
Yeah.
Very impressed.
Yeah, there it goes.
You never introduced us to the goat below.
Red.
Fancy.
Billy.
What's it called?
Red.
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 She has a red thumb. There's a pinky as well, and a blue.
Oh.
Okay. Okay.
But you have definitely got buttercup dancing when you're
We're dancing now. So it was lovely to be here. It's a really gorgeous venture, and it needs to be. People need to hear about it. It's just a gorgeous thing. I think it's lovely. We're very privileged to be here.
Yeah.
We're missing Fiona Bryson. I was really looking forward to playing with her on the harp. She was going to play the harp, and she couldn't be here. So we'll do it again, I'm sure.
Yes.
Really.
Definitely.
Okay. So 2 reels by 2 great composers. The first one, actually no, that's a lie now.
I thought you said it was really though.
Well, the first one was composed by a great composer called Reevy, but we've no clue who composed the second one. Because it's in O'Neill's book since the early 1900s, so God knows.
Paddy Cullen recorded it. didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah.
Well,
Girl Who Broke My Heart.
Colonel Brook. So the first tune is called Lady from Cavan, and the second tune is The Girl Who Broke My Heart. So thank you very much. Are we going 3 and 3?
Wasn't that just fantastic? Wasn't that just brilliant? Okay, it was a great night's music, and I loved all the information. We'll do a quiz online afterwards. We'll do a quiz online afterwards. You can do corrections. But thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
It was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and I loved your slower.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
really,
She's the
really
Dublin
beautiful.
slur.
Well, I can see why. It was really beautiful.
Class.
So thank you so much for coming. Thank you all so much for coming, because if you didn't come, we couldn't do this. The next one is on the second Tuesday of July, and it's all harp. I think there's 20 harps coming. We were talking about your 40 fiddles. I think we've 20 harps. Dominic's been telling everybody it's 40, but I think it's 20. So you're more than welcome to that too. And the coffee hut is open for anyone who'd like a hot chocolate. The ladies are signing autographs. And take photographs of the alpaca. All right. Thanks again.
Sorry.